Now, if Matchday 1 didn't quite go to plan and you're thinking about hitting that wildcard button in Matchday 2, don't worry, I've got you covered with all the data and the ultimate team heading into the next Matchday. Now, of course, before we dive into today's video, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as is massively appreciated. And we are ridiculously close to hitting 14k on the channel, and it'd be absolutely amazing if we could do that during kind of the Club World Cup kind of fiasco, if you like. On screen right now is my mini league code. The winner of that will receive a little cup with, you know, the Club World Cup logo and stuff on it, so it's worth entering. There's about 1,000 people in there. Obviously, it does run from match day 1, so, you know, should be pretty decent. If you want to get yourself involved, there is an auto join link as well in the description. Make sure as well you all follow me on Twitter at FPLTom_. That is where I'll be posting pretty much daily about Club World Cup and stuff. So obviously, if you are looking for more Club World Cup content, make sure to go over there and follow me. Of course, before we dive into this wildcard draft for match day 2, let's take a look at the 11FI data. Now, it hasn't been updated, but I do imagine there would be kind of a little bit of an influx towards probably some teams scoring better with, of course, the opening games that we have had. But this so far is the numbers that we do have from 11FI, and I still think they're fairly accurate. Of course, we'll look towards the betting markets closer to the deadline to kind of get a more accurate kind of perception of the next 2 match days. But from what I've seen, they're still pretty similar in terms of those numbers anyway. Of course, the standout fixtures that we're going to be looking at with our wildcard are going to be 2 and 3. And of course, as I've always said to you guys, with it only being a -3 hit within this game, I definitely think there is more upside in taking risks. As we've already seen so far in this tournament, there have been some mega score lines, and it's just worth taking those hits. Players score more, hits are less, and there's more goals than kind of any other fantasy game I think we've ever seen. So definitely worth targeting individual fixtures in match day 2 and match day 3. Obviously, building this wildcard, there will still be some sort of elements looking towards 2 and 3, but I definitely think just targeting maybe on one-off games as well is still going to be very beneficial. And with that in mind, of course, we are probably going to be looking at Manchester City with our wildcard in match day 2 with 3.9 projected goals here. Also, we've got Benfica against Auckland. I imagine if they did these numbers again, they would be extremely high as well. The betting markets have already got Auckland City priced at 151 to beat Benfica. Again, would not surprise me when we come to match day, that absolutely skyrockets, as we saw with the Bayern one, which went up to 325 to 1 before kickoff as well. Obviously, Atleti, after that disappointing defeat, and this is something that I mentioned kind of within the build-up, if they, you know, got off to a poor start, they need to probably go and win these next 2 games. So their assets definitely on the list as well as interesting options. Inter have got a pretty decent group, so 2 and 3. Depending on their result in match day 1 should also be worth looking at. And PSG as well with good fixtures in 2 and 3. Definitely worth looking at some of their players. Same with Dortmund as well. But of course, these teams, if they do, of course, pick up 6 points from their opening 2 games, you might be potentially looking at taking some hits to, of course, you know, counter the potential rotation that we are going to see in match day 3. Let's quickly take a look at the defensive data then before, of course, we do head into the team itself. As we're seeing, City's numbers, they're pretty decent. Inter's numbers pretty good across the board as well. Borussia Dortmund's also a massive increase from match day 1. Real Madrid's as well. So I think Trent, if he looks good in this opening game, could be a real fascinating asset. Already been pictured in training, potentially working on corners. So that's a nice way to get some points. And with defenders picking up 9 points per goal, could again be a real interesting option. Obviously, PSG as well now, they're starting to look good. So Hakimi definitely comes into the fold. Atletico Madrid with decent opportunities as well, also in 2 and 3, could also be worth a little bit of investment. Benfica as well, just for that one-off fixture. Somebody like Otamendi, you do feel, who's already scored 6 goals in the league this season, could be an absolutely fantastic option to potentially consider as well. Those were the data numbers from 11FI. Of course, if you want to go check them out, I will leave a link to their amazing website in the description, of course, where you can kind of do your own due diligence. But like I said, the best place to probably find more data like this will be over on my Twitter. I'll be pretty much tweeting out the betting stuff and, you know, just trying to keep you guys informed and updated throughout the Club World Cup. But let's head into this match day 2 wildcard team. Okay, wasting no time, let's dive into the Matchday 2 wildcard then. As you can see with the goalkeeper picks, we're going for cheap and cheerful. Again, if you saw in Matchday 1, Armani managed to pick himself up a 14-pointer, saving a penalty and keeping a clean sheet. I've always told people, for me personally, I just like going for the cheap and cheerful options. Of course, Armani is going to have the better fixture here out of Martian, but in Matchday 3, Martian actually has a really good fixture. He faces Auckland City, so a pretty reliable goalkeeper to have at 4.1 million for the final matchday as well. And you do feel, obviously, the Benfica Boca Juniors game hasn't taken place while I'm obviously recording this video, but you do feel that they're probably going to lose that opening game, maybe potentially lose the Bayern Munich one as well, and might need something out of this Auckland City game. So actually, a pretty competitive fixture where you do imagine they'll still be fairly full strength. But like I said, I like going for the cheap and cheerful goalkeepers. They're just the way that I like to play this game. Let's start off then with our defence. Like I said, Trent has been pictured taking some corners and free kicks in training, which would be very interesting to see. The remaining two fixtures for Real Madrid, we also saw in the 11-5 numbers, looking a lot more better in terms of those clean sheet numbers. Obviously, of course, there might be some potential rotation in Matchday 3, but again, I feel that is probably going to be the common theme with, of course, this wildcard team, is there is always that element of course, teams picking up 6 points and maybe some rotation. But Trent is just one of those players that is an absolute monster. We saw it in FPL this season. He, again, finished as the highest scoring defender, despite missing quite a lot of games. I think that just shows his prowess, his overall attacking ability. And over the past few years as well, we've seen how prolific wing-backs within Xavi Alonso's systems can be. So I think Trent could be a fantastic pickup. Mora probably got their hardest game out of the group out of the way for Porto now. I would say their next two fixtures pretty decent. Of course, that group's still widely open with everybody getting 0-0. Of course, had a pretty decent season as well. Looked really good in Matchday 1. I was actually a really big fan of him. But yeah, 13 goal involvements for him this season. Like I said, they've got the hard fixtures out of the way. Porto are clear favourites heading into the next two fixtures at 4.1 million. This one seems like a little bit of a no-brainer. Rennie Lodi is in there. Obviously, we'll be familiar with Premier League and FPL managers. Obviously, Nottingham Forest as well. 10 goal involvements in 24 games this season for Al Hilal. Of course, at 4.5 million could be a fantastic differential, because you do feel like they'll lose their opening fixture against Real Madrid, but then it's Salzburg and Pachuca in their next two. And of course, if they do want to progress, they're probably going to have to win both of these. And as you can see right here, currently 2% selected. Yeah, I'm just making sure you guys can see that. You can. 2% selected still. So again, gets that scouting bonus. I think he could be another one that definitely shoots up over the next few days, but would be a nice cheap option to look at, of course, if you are on a wild card. And like I said, with it being 9 points for a defender goal, that could be a little bit ridiculous to potentially take a look at as well. Denzel Dumfries is in there. Again, we don't know what Inter have done in their opening game, but if they still need something from the next two, 11 goals, 5 assists, his UCL heroics, like, yeah, do I need to say any more? The guy is an absolute machine, monster, beast at the back, and I think he could be a really good pickup. Of course, though, there is that risk of rotation in Matchday 3. Same goes with Hakimi, 47 games this season, 8 goals, 12 assists. Very unfortunate not to have come away with an attacking return within the game against Atleti as well the other day. Put a fantastic ball across the face of the box. Just very unfortunate that nobody was on the other end of it. And that pretty much starts a PSG kind of contingent within the side as well. We've obviously got Doué. Again, I thought he looked pretty decent. Again, very unfortunate not to have came away with an attacking return. I think, of course, Dembele is going to miss the group stages, it looks like. So I do believe Doué and Kvaratskhelia are probably the best two midfielders that you can select from PSG, in my personal opinion. I think Vitinha is also a decent shout with, of course, that penalty appeal as well. But for me, I'm probably going to select Doué and Kvaratskhelia. Obviously, a great opening game for him. 2 assists, hit the bar as well, and looked absolutely fantastic. And currently, only 11.8% selected. So there's a lot of room, a lot of scope to potentially gain big rank from him as well. And also offers himself up as a great captaincy option as well. Moving into our next midfielder, and it is going to again start kind of a little bit of a contingent, as you can see within the team. This one is going to be more the Benfica one. Di Maria currently under 5%. He's at 4.9, so I do imagine close to the deadline he will definitely increase. It's going to be one of his final games for Benfica before obviously heading back to South America. And again, we are seeing with the bookmakers data and of course the 11-5 data, heavy suggestions that this is going to be a strong Benfica win. If you didn't watch the game against Bayern or haven't done so, please just go and watch the highlights, especially the extended ones. You will see how deep this side was sat, and it felt for large parts of the game Bayern kind of just didn't really get out of kind of second gear, really, and didn't really need to. So you do feel like this could be one of those games, again, it's going to be very, very high scoring. Artoglu on the other side as well, 20 goal involvements in 30 games. He is, unfortunately, now over 5%. I believe he's at 5.2, but still, these players that are going to be so low owned, a lot of people won't have them in their Matchday 1 teams. If they're not wildcarding in Matchday 2 as well, might be a little bit reluctant to take some hits. Of course, if they're coming from other games where hits are kind of a little bit more, I would say, severe in terms of rank, they might not be worth potentially taking these hits. So this could be where you, of course, go and get your big rank gains from the wildcard, in my opinion, targeting these Benfica players. And of course, those two in midfield, pretty decent options. Then we've got Franco Mastora, obviously yet to play in Matchday 1, 4.3 million. But if he is going to be the talisman that he's been kind of made out to be believed, still pretty decent option. Otherwise, I probably would look at Mora from Porto. I think he looked absolutely fantastic, and against Miami's high line, could be a player that could massively go off. Again, 4.2 million for that lad, could be an absolute steal. Then we move into our front line, and we're going to start off first with Guirassy. I think either Guirassy or Alvarez probably would be the shouts for this striker spot. I think if, of course, Dortmund win heavy in the first game, look to go heavy in the second game, obviously you'd want Guirassy, but then it means in Matchday 3 you are probably going to be booking in a transfer, with Dortmund already confirmed through. With Atleti losing that opening game, they of course need to win the next two to definitely confirm their status in the knockout stages of this competition. And you do feel, with the prize money that is being offered here, they will want to progress. And with Seattle in that opening game, their second game of the tournament, I watched a bit of the Seattle kind of game and how they were lining up. There's a lot of room, and you do feel like Atleti probably will get very, very fortunate and create quite a few opportunities in that one. But I like both Guirassy and I do like both Julian Alvarez as well. Pretty decent season for both of these guys in front of goal. Another man who's had an absolutely cracking season in front of goal is going to be Pavlidis. Like we spoke about, 150 to 1. One of the top teams for projected goals on the 11-5 model. I believe on some other models as well that I've been retweeting out on Twitter, they are top currently as well, which is absolutely unbelievable to see. So yeah, Pavlidis, he's just going to be in there. And again, currently, I believe he's over 5% now. Yeah, 5.4%. But all of these three together, probably across the whole game, and I spoke about this towards the back end of FPL, yes, you know, some of these players might be a little bit more template, shall we say, but it's those combinations that start to make them actually differential, because how many people are going to have Di Maria, Artoglu and Pavlidis come Matchday 2? I doubt it's going to be many, so yeah, definitely worth taking full advantage of that one. Then the final pick is going to be Erling Haaland. I think you could also have Kylian Mbappe in this spot as well, but Al-In are 40 to 1 to beat Manchester City. We saw on the 11-5 numbers, they've actually got City as the top for projected goals. And if you go further on their website as well, you will see Haaland is fancied to get the most projected goal involvement outcome from Matchday 2 as well. So for me, again, another absolutely cracking, fantastic captaincy option that I would want available. And of course, you probably maybe would look to switch him out in Matchday 2 for some other forwards. Maybe that's where you bring in Julian Alvarez, of course, if, you know, Dortmund is still looking to progress there. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this as a wildcard team. Let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. Of course, if you've got any questions about your team as well, get them in the chat and we'll try and answer as many as we possibly can. But thank you for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in Matchday 2.